Good morning. Hello, everyone. Gonna wait just a second for everyone to pop on. Say hello when you start watching so that I know that you are here. I am going to take a second here and make sure that we are live in the Facebook group because usually that's my job on the other end. So anyone who's not, if you unless this is your first day, you will quickly notice that I am not Amanda. So yes, it is Jenn Chase, team coach here at Hope Ring Connections and over in the Family Thrive Academy. Please let me know if you can hear me because this is my first time doing this through StreamYard. So help me out here and let me know who's watching and that you can hear me, and then we will get ready to go here. Okay, I think we are live and up and running, and hopefully I'll be able to see your comments here. Welcome to Mondays with Amanda. But like I said, I'm not Amanda, I'm Jenn. So we are going to talk today about building your child's independence and why that is so very important. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go into some announcements. And if you guys are all familiar with the way I do, I love the wins. It is one of my favorite things during the week because we love to support you guys in your journey. And when we hear wins that other people are getting from being a part of this community, it really helps us out even on bad days. We can look and see this is possible, folks. The information that we give you, if you use it in your daily lives, it will help your kids and your family will just thrive. And that's really what we are here for. That's what we want to help you guys accomplish. We want peace in your home and for your kiddos to be doing well. So the wins today, I actually have one of my own. Any of you who know me and are familiar with the story of my son is 7 years old. He is on the spectrum and he has sensory processing disorder. And his favorite thing to do is run up and down our hallway just to get some input. So we have been working for quite some time on getting our basement to a safe space for him to run and ride his bike and scooter and all that stuff. So our basement closets are now completed. So I will be working very hard in the next couple of weeks to get all of their toys organized and in the closets so that they have that space to play. You guys will see that Amanda's not here. She is actually with our other coach, Candy. They have gone to receive some additional training on the rhythmic movement to bring to us. And I'm super excited because if you're familiar with my story, the rhythmic movement has definitely been a game changer for my son and for our family. So I'm really excited to hear what else that we can learn and the progress that my son will make from that. So super excited about that. We also have a win from our coaching group. This is from Ryan. Ryan is one of our dads, and he and his wife are like our awesome star team because they are always there and they're really implementing the strategies and they are making progress. So he says #win. His son was working to gain confidence in the water in the pool and was able to separate himself during an outburst, which is a huge thing. Okay, we're talking about building independence. Gaining confidence is a part of that. And so for him to be able to gain some confidence with swimming, that's one of those skills that please teach your kids because it can be really scary if they don't know how to do that. So, and to be able to separate himself during an outburst. This kiddo has he can definitely struggle with those outbursts, and for him to be able to stop himself and separate himself is a huge, huge win. So congratulations, Kirsten and Ryan, on that one. Big announcement. Super big announcement, guys. If you are watching, please pay attention to this. Is that starting next week, we will be moving to Thursdays. So yes, Amanda's going to be going live on Thursdays from now on. And it's going to be a little bit different. We will actually post a registration link first thing on Monday mornings, and you will actually have to register for the class. So between Monday and the live on Thursday, you will need to get registered so that you can attend. I'm not sure all of the details yet, but we will get those to you as they come about. And next month in July, we have our cooperation workshop. This is also going to be a little bit different, and we will get you those details as we go along. Cooperation is a big deal to building your family team and helping things go smoother, working together to solve problems. And that is what that is going to cover. It's going to cover all of those things and how to get everybody on board and buy into what you're wanting to see happen in your family. We also just ended a bonus. If you signed up for the coaching group, we actually have a new bonus that we're going to offer you between now and July 4th at midnight. If you sign up for either the Family Thrive Academy coaching, or if you buy any of our workshops, you will get a bonus 30-minute private session with either Amanda or myself. I'm going to go ahead and pop those into the link here in the comments. Hopefully it'll get to everybody. The first one here is to purchase any of our workshops. And then the second one here is for the Family Thrive Academy, where we are doing awesome things. You should come and join us. This is, where we really dive deep into the skills and resources that can help you and really provide the support that you may not be able to get other places. This isn't a short-term deal. I've seen lots of other coaching groups out there where it's like a short amount of time frame, like 3 months or something like that. And that's great for learning skills and tools, but to get the support that you really need and the help to overcome obstacles as they come up, that is really where I think we are different and we thrive in that area, because obstacles will come up, as things change. Even kiddos that you're like familiar with, sometimes they go through like a honeymoon period where they're like, okay, I'll do this, I'm on board. And then something will happen. Okay, now what do I do? And in other coaching programs, you may not get that level of support long term that is really needed to help give you the tools, the skills, and the support to get you from where you are now to where you really want to be. So you should join us in the Family Thrive Academy. I think it's awesome. I love being a part of it. We do at least 3 coaching groups a week. I do my own for Beneath Behavior because I am a behavioral health professional. And I really kind of work at getting at what's underneath the surface, how to track a behavior so that you can come up with a plan to improve. So we are going to start with our Mindful Monday. I was thinking, usually I pop something into the group for Mindful Monday, but since I'm doing the live today, I figured we would just do something during the live. So we're going to do a little bit of visualization today. Most of you are probably familiar with it, but I think it's a great skill and it can really help just refocus you. It goes along with breathing and slowing down, which clearly I am not doing because I am a fast talker. So I'm going to slow down with you and get ready to dive into this material. So you're just going to want to close your eyes and get nice and comfy. We're going to take a couple of deep breaths. Okay. And since we're talking today about building our child's independence, I really want you to think 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, what skills you want your child to have. Like, what does that look like for you? What do you want your child's life to look like years from now? And just breathe. So, do you want them to be working? Do you want them to be able to get married or have a relationship? What skills do you want them to be able to have? And I want you guys to hold those thoughts in your mind because I'm going to talk about that in today's presentation. First, I'm going to tell you why this topic is so very incredibly important to me. Okay. Hi, Kirsten. I see you guys are watching. I hope you heard your win. So, yes, when you start watching, say hi to me. Let me know you are watching. Um, Remind me to ask you questions too as we're going along. So, if you know what skills you want your child to have, what you want that to look like 5 or 10 years down the road, post those in the comments. I'd love to hear some of your ideas, some of what you have for your child's, the vision of your child's life. So, building your child's independent skills is incredibly important to me. And I'm going to get a little personal here, so bear with me. My father had his first heart attack when he was 36 years old. He died on the table 3 times that day. And by 46, he was gone. My older sister died of a heart attack at 41. And she left behind an 18-year-old and a 12-year-old. My brother, who is just a year and a half older than I am, has already had to have heart surgery. And my younger brother, who is 3 years younger than I am, is already on blood pressure medication. So genetics, unfortunately, is not my friend in this area. And literally, I don't know how much time I get to have with my children. I don't know that I will be there when they graduate from high school or when they get married. I don't know that I will be able to teach them skills like how to fill out a resume or things like that. So, really, I have to take advantage of every day that I have with my kids to give them the skills that they need to be as productive as they can be in this life, to be able to seek help where they need it. These these are skills to help them if for some reason I am not here to teach them later on. And unfortunately, that is the reality of my family, is that I have to think on those lines. Um, you may not have to. I don't know. But for me, it's very important to teach my kids as soon as I can the skills that they need to thrive. So, um, how does teaching these skills to our kids benefit our kids? You know, I struggle with this a lot with some of my family members because they aren't teaching their kids how to be independent and do things for themselves. And really, it is hurting their kids a little bit in ways that they don't even probably realize. Because when we are teaching our kids to be independent, we are building their self esteem. We are helping them feel capable and confident. We are giving them a sense of importance and a sense of belonging in our families. When our kids are able to do things out in the world, they feel like they have a home in this world, and they feel like they belong somewhere when they can do things that other people are doing. And yes, our uniquely wired kids may have differences in that area. I know for my uniquely wired child, it takes us a lot more time to teach him certain skills that come naturally to other children. So we have to keep that in mind, and building that self confidence that I can do this will help them in the long run. It builds self reliance. It helps them feel like they're in some kind of control over their environment. Um, and I don't know about you, but that has been a struggle for me, is not feeling like I have any control over my environment. And our kids go through that too. Our kids need to feel like they can make some changes, and we want them to feel like they can make changes in the world, because they really can if we give them the tools and support. It helps increase problem solving skills, which we all know that we need in order to communicate with others in our world, in order to solve problems at, in jobs later on. So it helps them learn how to figure things out at an earlier age. So when you're teaching your child these skills and they might be struggling, your first instinct may be to go and help them, and maybe that's not the best thing to do, is because when we kind of back off away from that situation a little bit, it helps them learn that they can figure it out. And actually, that increases their self confidence and their feelings of capability. It builds resilience by preparing them to handle failures and stress. Now, I know that like when we talk about that with younger kids, we're like, well, why would I want them to feel like a failure or stress? But when they can handle that emotion at a younger age, it will actually prepare them to better handle it in the future. Like if we have it structured so that our kids never face failure or stress, then when they become adults, they don't know how to handle it. It teaches them how to set goals of accomplishment, which is something that we actually will be going over with our next Beneath the Behavior coaching call, is that we have ways that we can set SMART goals. And SMART stands for something here, but I won't go into that. Um, but goals are an important thing, and some of our kids don't know how to make goals, and they don't know how to reach those goals unless we help them. We're going to help them in a different way, though. We're going to give them the tools they need to learn how to set those goals and reach them on their own. It helps them explore their own likes and dislikes, believe it or not. When we teach our kids to do chores in the house, they're going to quickly find out, well, I really don't like doing dishes, or I don't like doing laundry. And it's kind of sometimes that we might not like those things, but we still have to do them. And it's actually teaching them how to handle that situation as well. But then we have kids who love to do laundry or dishes, and it's very therapeutic and relaxing for them in some cases. So your child will learn how to communicate their likes and dislikes if we're teaching them different things to do. It promotes good work ethic and makes them mindful and appreciative of other people's contributions. So I am of the mindset that there is no small job. There is no unimportant job, whether it is a doctor or your Walmart cashiers. We all play a part in this world, and we should all be working together for the good. And when we teach our kids at a younger age to do things for themselves, we're actually helping them recognize that we need to be mindful of other people. So it drives me crazy when I see things that are just left like in between the aisles or something like that that don't belong there. Because yes, that person gets paid for that job, but they also have other jobs that are more important, really. So it helps our kids be mindful of everybody plays a part and everybody contributes to the world. And it helps them recognize that and be more mindful of that. Um, and last but not least, it helps parents. It helps you and me find more time in our day for things like self care and for work and things like that. So, do you notice how I actually put that one last? And it's because that to me is the least important. All of those things that we're going to actually be building in our kids is the most important thing to be thinking about when we're building their independence, when we're teaching them skills to do things for themselves. That is the most important thing. I'm going to read our comments here real quick. Kirsten says, be able to advocate his needs, be able to use critical thinking skills to resolve basic problems, and know when to ask for help when a problem is too big. Know there is support for him when he needs it and feel comfortable asking for that help. That is great. Yes, those are great visions for your child's life. And as parents of uniquely wired kids, we want them to be able to advocate for themselves. We want them to be able to know that they can ask for help when they need it, and we can help them feel capable enough to do that. So yes, that's a great vision for your kids, Kirsten. I love it. Okay, my next point is creating independence with day-to-day tasks. Okay, and this kind of sounds self-explanatory, and it kind of is that throughout our day as parents, there are so many things that we do, and a lot of those can be skills that we can teach our kids. Okay, I'm going to tell you a funny story about my sons. My youngest was about 2.5, and my oldest was about 4.5. And basically, they learned how to make me coffee. And this is, believe it or not, this isn't actually a skill that I directly set out to teach them. But it was actually, we used it as a speech task. So there is lots of speech involved with making a cup of coffee. We have a Keurig, so there's lots of steps to it, and we were using it to teach him more of that language. And they saw me do it day after day after day, and so they started to do it. So one of my points later on is that our kids are way more capable than we might even think. At 2.5, my son could make my coffee. Why? Because he watched me do it, and he had the mindset to try it himself, and I let him. Okay? And that is a very, very important point, is that we need to let our kids try to do things for themselves. There is a lot in your child's day that you might be doing right now that you really don't have to be doing. At this point, my kids basically feed themselves breakfast. I'm there. I'm right there with them, but that is a task that they can do. They can get out the bowls, they can get out the cereal, the milk, they pour their own milk, um, because they can do that. And they can even do lunch too when it's simpler things like sandwiches or something like that. So you have to give your kids opportunities during the day to stretch their independence, to build those independent skills. And the opportunities are there. You just have to be able to take them as a parent and say, hey, this is something that we can teach you how to do for yourself. And it'll help you feel like you can do things, and it'll help you feel good about yourself. So take those opportunities that you have in day-to-day tasks. Cleaning up their room, that is definitely something that kids can do. I will pop into the group a visual that I made about stage appropriate tasks. And I don't go with age appropriate tasks because we have uniquely wired kids. So, yes, a normal 2-year-old could do these things, but your 4-year-old may just be getting to the point that they can. So, it isn't about age, it's about your child's abilities at different stages. So, just be mindful of that when you're teaching these independent skills, is you want to gauge where your child is at and what they are capable of. And then when you see, okay, well, he's not quite there yet, then you know there's a skill there that you can build upon. So taking the time every day with various tasks that are going on that you can teach your child to be independent with. Okay, some steps to teaching a skill, because building independence with our kids is mostly skills based. Is that our kids can't get to the point where they can do it themselves unless we are teaching them the skills to do so. So I have a little visual here. Hopefully you guys can see it. I don't know how to share my screen on this and all that. So it's 4 steps to teaching a skill, okay? And at the bottom step, you'll notice modeling. That's the I do, you watch stage. So like I said, with teaching my kids how to make my coffee, I didn't set out to teach them how to do that, but they saw me, they watched me, and we talk about this in the group all the time. It is you, then them. If you want your child to learn a skill, you have to learn it first and model it for your child. Okay? So the next step is the guide. That is, I do, and you help me. Okay, so if you're talking about something like making coffee, for example, you would either ask your child the steps or you could ask them to do the steps. So if you're asking them what to do, then you could be doing it while they're telling you the steps to do it. Or if you're going to do it, they can give you the steps. So you can do it one of 2 ways. And it's getting them to just help out, to be a part of that task. And then there's the support. That is where the child does it and you help as the parent. Yes, Tiffany, I'm definitely going to post all those visuals in the group for you. Yes. Oh, there's lots of comments on here that I didn't even see. So I may have to go back and read those. Okay. Sarah says she wants her child to be able to build confidence. Yes. Yeah, I know that one's a struggle for your kiddos. So teaching them to be independent will help them build that confidence level. And you can definitely start out with things that you know that they're capable of, because that will automatically help them build that I can do that attitude. Tiffany says, I let my 9 and 5-year-old cook lunch and dinner for the family. Yeah, they love it. I actually do a meal planning with my kids where one day out of the week, each one of them gets to pick a meal. They have to help me figure out what things we need to buy. We do grocery pickup right now, but eventually when all of the craziness of the world is back to normal, they'll be able to go to the store with me to pick out their items that they needed and purchase them and come back, and I'll let them cook as much as they can safely. But my 4-year, well, he's 5 now. My 5-year-old now, he will do just about anything that I give him as far as cooking. So that's a great way to teach our kids those independent skills. Kirsten says we have a, sorry, lost it. We have a small pitcher that for them to pour their own water and a small container for milk so they can get their own cereal for breakfast. Yes, excellent. Excellent. And build that container up. So once you know that they're capable of pouring it in the small containers, then you pour it in bigger and bigger containers and help them keep moving on that skill. Tiffany says, my 9-year-old makes pancakes and spaghetti, his favorite to make. That's awesome. Super awesome. Yes, I will post the ability-based activities, like what your kids can do at each stage, and the 4 steps to skill. Tiffany says, my husband has been teaching my son how to mow the grass. My girls do dishes and laundry. That's awesome. And both of my kids actually do their own laundry with supervision, of course, but I kind of put that into their hands. They've been able to fold their laundry for a number of years now. So your uniquely wired kids can learn these skills with help. Getting back to our steps. So our first step is modeling. The second one is guide. The third one is support. And then apply is the last step. So number 4 is apply. And that is you do it as the child and I watch as the adult. So you'll see we go from modeling, which is all parent, guide, which is mostly parent, child helps, support, child mostly does, parent helps, and then apply, the child does it themselves. And look, he's so happy. He's so happy that he can do these skills for himself. Sarah says they really struggle with overwhelm. If there is no school, my son can make scrambled eggs and toast, cuts fruit and vegetables. As a 3-year-old, he would set his outfits out. He would even encourage his older sister to do hard things. That's great. Great. We actually need to be our kids' biggest cheerleader when it comes to helping them build those independence, is that we need to be super happy when our kids can start doing things for themselves. That will help them build their confidence and self-esteem. So those are great things to do. A couple of things to keep in mind is that when it comes to teaching a skill, you have to slow down to speed up. Amanda said that the other day, and it really stuck with me because it's true, is that when we are thinking about teaching a child a skill, we can't be in a rush. We can't even be kind of the mindset that that it has to be perfect. We have to be able to just encourage our kids wherever they're at. So if you are trying to teach your child a skill and you are worried about a mess, or you are worried about them doing it wrong, or anything like that, we need to check that in ourselves before we go into teaching our kids. And we can't rush through it. It is a process to teach these skills, and it's probably going to take more than once. You know, I modeled for a long time sometimes before my kids are able to do things for themselves. So just slow down to speed up. And that is the speed up part, is we're teaching our kids to do these skills for themselves when a lot of other kids are not learning the skills right now. I mean, if you think back like decades and decades ago, kids knew a lot of stuff. They knew how to solve a lot of problems. They knew a lot of skills. So by the time they were 18, they were ready to move out on their own because they're like, I got this. But nowadays, we are teaching our kids less skills and we're not doing them any favors. So we really need to be kind of keeping that in mind, is that what do we want our kids to be able to do? And that's one of my other points, is that keep the long view in mind. I have to do that because I don't know what the long view looks like for me and my family. So I have to think every day, what skills is my child going to need if I'm not here to teach it to them? What skills do they need to be productive in the world and be able to do things, to contribute something? And so keep that long view in mind, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. We don't know what kind of craziness is going to happen in our families or in our lives or in the lives of our kids. So we really need to prepare them for that as much as we can as parents, because that is love. teaching our kids to be prepared for the chaos of adulthood can be huge, a huge, tremendous help for them later on. Make it fun. Totally make teaching these skills fun. Okay, so if you have a kid who you're teaching to do the dishes, you know, you kind of do a little splash thing. Don't get crazy with it. But we have a thing where we were working on folding socks. So every sock that we folded, we would toss into a basket. So make it fun. Make our kids want to do these cool things. Sarah says, now that he's older, he empties his dirty hamper onto the floor and climbs into the hamper for relief. But it is not really effective. Pause. I get that. Yeah. I think, Sarah, it is just a matter of teaching him to clean it up after he makes a mess. That can be your skill right there, is teaching him to effectively clean up a mess that he's made. All right, Tiffany says, my kids also don't know how to occupy their mind. They are always coming to me saying they are bored. I give suggestions, but they say no, they don't want to do that. They are bored. Yeah, unfortunately, summer can sometimes be that because our kids are used to structure during the school year, and sometimes we might need to give them that structure. They struggle with keeping themselves busy. They constantly want me to figure out for them. Tiffany, this is a great opportunity for you to sit down with your family and come up with some ideas of things to do when they're bored. You can actually have a like a board jar where you write something on each popsicle stick of something that they can do when they're bored. And your family can help contribute to this. So it isn't just ideas that you come up with, it's things that they like to do. And then when they're bored, you send them to the jar and they pick something out. Tiffany says she's teaching her 3-year-old how to buckle and unbuckle herself in the car seat. Yes, that is a skill that is important to know. I would just be mindful, Tiffany, to make sure that you are teaching her when it's okay to unbuckle. That is my only area of concern with that. Okay. So, when I did this talk a while back, there were definitely some questions that came up, and I want to be able to answer some of those. How do I get my child to do what they're capable of when they see their younger sibling still getting help? Okay. My recommendation for that would be to get curious. Figure out why they feel like they can't do this skill because their younger sibling is it. Go back to connection. Build your connection with your kids so that they want to do the things that you want them to do. And get on their level when you're talking to them. Like, put yourself in their mindset, and that will help you figure out kind of what is motivating that. So, how do I get my child to do the skill when he believes he does not have the skill? So, here goes back to our daily wins and gratitudes. Is when we keep a list of the things that our kids are accomplishing, is that we can refer them back to that list. So, if your child is saying, well, I can't fold my clothes, you go back to your list and say, you did it last week. You got this. We can do that. And remember that it's more about trying than about making it perfect. That is something that I really had to let go of when I started to teach my kids some of these skills, especially with their laundry, is that their laundry is definitely not folded how I would fold it. But you know what? They're doing it themselves, and they are actually learning how they like to fold their clothes. Because if you look at how people fold clothes, everybody folds their stuff different. And they are learning early on the way that they like to do that. So So yeah, just keep in mind that it's about them trying. It isn't about perfection. Um, Says C led a morning meeting today with his younger brother and dad. He picked what to do in the meeting. They talked about the schedule for the day. Hashtag win. I'm assuming that's Kirsten. Yes, because it's on here. It says Kirsten on there. It doesn't. So that's great. I know your son struggles with kind of making decisions, so that's excellent that he was able to kind of pinpoint what to do and decide what he wants to do for the day for the schedule. That's awesome. Hashtag win for sure. What if your child has difficulty socially problem solving? Actually, that was one of the questions that came up. And it is model appropriate social interactions. Whenever possible, you discuss situations that might come up and even role play with your kids. Okay, this might come up. How could we best handle this situation? And you'll actually be building that independence because you're helping them to problem solve even outside of that moment where they're interacting socially, and give them the skills to problem solve. Okay, so your friend stole your toy. What are things that you can do to handle that situation? And it might be, asking their friend for the toy back. It might be going to get a teacher. Whatever the case may be, is you're helping them brainstorm solutions to their social problems. So we talked about this before, is that a lot of helping in the moment is done outside of the moment. So when we are discussing these things with our kids, our social interactions, when we're helping them try to figure out what to do and how to handle things, we're outside of the moment, but we're really going to be helping them inside the moment. And you don't have to wait for a problem to occur in order to talk about it. So if you know that you've got a teenager coming up, and we all know how peer pressure can be a really big area of problem when it comes to our teenagers, you can start ahead of time to model how to deal with peer pressure, because you know they're going to face it. You know it's going to come up. So you don't have to wait until it comes up to work on how to handle it. You can teach them ahead of time how to handle it. And that's behavioral health professionals, we have moved more towards that, is that we no longer just handle behaviors in the moment. We try to prevent problems from occurring in the first place by building their skills, by teaching them how to do X, Y, and Z, whatever it is that they're having issues with. So how young should you start fostering independence with your skills? And my answer is as soon as they are possibly capable of doing so. Neurotypical kids actually go through a stage between 2 and 3 years old that they have actually kind of, named the I do or me do stage, because that is when our neurotypical kids want to start doing things for themselves. And with our uniquely wired kids, that stage might come a little bit later, and that's okay. Whenever that stage occurs where they want to start being more independent, that is when you can absolutely jump on that opportunity to teach them how to do things for themselves. The earlier that they know these skills, the better they fare, and the less work that we have to do as parents, because they know all these skills the sooner that we work on them. So yeah, don't be discouraged if your child is 4 or 5 or 6 when they start doing some of those wanting to do things for themselves. We actually just got to the point with my son where he's 7 now, but he has started to want to pick out his own clothes. I mean, he picked his outfits before, but this is like he is very much becoming more independent with what he wants to wear, what things he likes to wear. So we just started taking him to the store for him to pick out his own clothes so that he can pick them out on a daily basis and want to wear them. So whatever age your child starts to want to be independent, that is absolutely when you can capitalize on that desire to do things for themselves. But the earlier you work, the easier it definitely is. Because if you have teenagers, you know that the older that they get, the harder it is to get them on board with doing things for themselves. So I say the sooner the better. Absolutely. Um, does anybody have any questions? I know one of the questions that I had before was, how can educators help foster independence in the classroom? And I would even do some of the same things that I would do in a home situation. Visual schedules, routines help kids in any environment be more independent because they know what comes next. And if they don't remember it, they can still refer back to the list. They can refer back to the visual. They can refer back to um, whatever you have, whether it's a poster or a visual schedule, anything like that. So using those is a great way to foster independence with our kids. And be mindful of when we have to break tasks down into smaller things. So we've talked before about sending a child to clean their room. A uniquely wired child may not be able to say to just go into their room and start cleaning their room. But what we can do as parents is break down what you mean by clean your room. So it is put the toys in the toy box. That's one step. Then you move to books on the shelf, clothes in the hamper. So you break it down into smaller pieces that they can handle. And that would be, based on your child's ability and where they're at and how they best get a task done. Um, so the best way to do that is to know your child and to build that connection with them. Our teenagers who don't want to do stuff, build the connection. Share with them why you want to work on these skills and let them know that it is because you have their best interest at heart and that you want them to be capable. You want them to be able to do things. Anybody have any more questions? Okay, well, thank you guys so much for joining me and letting me take over for Amanda today. She will be back next week, and like I said at the beginning, we'll be moving to Thursdays starting next week. I told you guys some stuff was coming up in July that we're kind of excited about, stuff that's going to be different. So yes, we are moving to Thursdays. We will post the link in the group for you guys to register for those classes. They are still free, so you can still join them. We're just going to kind of register ahead of time so we know who's going to be there. Kirsten says, in addition to making it playful, fun, and using visuals to help and connection, what are ways to help them get on board? I might have to think a little bit more about that, Kirsten. Because really the making it fun, the visuals, and getting connected with your kids are the most effective ways to get them on board to what you're doing. You might need to do some extra skills training as far as you might need to do hand over hand with your child. I know when we first started teaching my son how to clean up his toys and things like that, we definitely had to do hand over hand, where I would put my hand over his, we would pick up a toy together and put it where it needed to be. So it might depend a little bit more on what specific area you're talking about, but you are in the coaching group, so bring that up in our next coaching call, and we'll get a little bit more information and I can see where I can better help you there. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we will see you next Thursday. We'll post the link on Monday so that you guys have it and you can join us. And Amanda will be back. I am super excited to find out what information she is going to share with us from her extra rhythmic movement training. So, all right, guys, we'll see you in the group. Bye.